Hi, I'm Steve Gallegos, the author of The Art and Science of Success, Volume 7. Here it is right here. And this is a really cool book because it's a compilation of authors, leading experts from a variety of subject matters, including myself, Dr. Joe Rubino, Mr. Matt Morris, and Mr. Marc Accetta, just to name a few, who are some of the masters in what they do. And so I was so excited to be invited to be part of this compilation book. It's going on 7 volumes now, and if you get this book, then they're also going to give you up to $2,000 of free bonus gifts. Once you get the book, you can just go to the website that's on the back here and claim your gifts. And so there's a lot of value in this book beyond the content itself, so make sure you get it. So I get to read to you right now the chapter 1, which is my chapter, and it's titled Become a World-Class Failure. That's right, by Steve Gallegos. Become a World-Class Failure. Here we go. You may be surprised to find a chapter focused on failure in this book on success. Yet, to explore the topic of success without equally exploring the topic of failure is like trying to ride a bicycle without pedaling. But isn't failure the opposite of success? And if so, why do we want to focus on the negative? The average person does view failure as a negative experience to be avoided at all costs. However, the most successful people in the world understand that failure is not the opposite of success. Rather, failure is the foundation of all success. Let me explain. You've probably heard of people who became self-made millionaires while in their early 20s. Well, my claim to fame is that I was a self-made failure by age 17. I knew this because my parents and teachers had been calling me a failure for years. Although at birth I was given a beautiful Spanish name, Esteban, somewhere along the way my name was changed to Bueno para nada, which in Spanish, or rather the English translation, it means good for nothing. It appears that my existence was a source of frustration to my parents, who, unbeknownst to me, had not read Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. Hence, the mental backpack that I carried back and forth to school every day for years was laden with heavy doses of negative self-esteem. Believing that I was indeed good for nothing, I found it easy to maintain that standard in school. Although I found great joy in classes involving reading, writing, art, and music, I did not understand how any of the other subjects was relevant to my future. In fact, I had no concept of what the future was or what it should look like. All I could think of at the time was to invent a way to stop time so that I would never have to go home at the end of each school day. I barely graduated from high school, and I'm convinced that the only reason I did was because none of my teachers wanted me back in their classroom. I'm pretty sure that my GPA was a negative 2.0, so attempting college was not an option. We did not have a family business, and I had no connections for a decent job. I was completely demoralized, frustrated, and confused about who I was and what purpose I had for being on this planet. I was a complete and total failure, and somehow I knew that the only way out of this situation was to take my own life. And so I did. To say that my days of youth were less than memorable is an understatement. Yes, I'm sure that my parents loved me, and they did their best to prepare me for adulthood. But this realization came many, many years later after a tremendous amount of study on the subject of the human self. But wait, you are saying, if you took your own life, how are you here writing this chapter? I'm glad that you asked. Recognizing my slim chances for a decent life, I decided to take my life by removing myself from my negative environment. I needed to do something that would not require money or stellar academic record. What did I do? I enlisted in the most grueling, most physically and mentally demanding branch of the armed services. That's right, the United States Marine Corps. 13 weeks later, I stood proudly on stage wearing the coveted dress blue uniform as the honor graduate of Platoon 165, MCRD, Parris Island, South Carolina. And over the next 4 years, I will be nominated for Marine of the Year and for a Navy League Award, two of the highest honors a Marine can receive. From there, my life has spiraled upward from one success to another. As a California peace officer, valedictorian of my police academy class, as a board-certified trial lawyer, as a singer-songwriter and recording artist, my debut CD was considered for a Grammy nomination in several categories. As a commercial photographer, since have been published nationally, as a professional speaker and personal growth expert, and now as co-author of this book. To look at my life today, even I find it hard to believe how I went from being a good-for-nothing to a relatively awesome at pretty much everything I set my mind to do. How did I transform my life? Simple. I figured out that once you're a world-class failure, there is nowhere else to go. This revelation, coupled with the following principles I learned as a Marine, altered my life's DNA. The first thing was, I am the writer, producer, and director of my life's movie. As such, I can stop filming and rewrite the script at any time, in any manner I desire. Number two, whenever someone speaks negatively of me, it's not about me at all. It's simply a reflection of how they feel about themselves. And number three, I achieved my dreams by helping others achieve theirs. And that has been my motto ever since I was 17 years old, and it has served me very well. A wise person once said, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. It so happened that when I made the decision to take my life into my own hands, I was presented with teachers who recognized my capacity, who taught me to believe in myself, and who showed me how to succeed in a big way. Now, certainly, I have since faced many other challenges and struggles, personally and professionally. However, by remembering who I am and recognizing my own power, I have transformed my failures into stepping stones for success. It's a shame that we are not taught personal growth principles in school, for we could all save ourselves a lot of pain and discomfort. But the good thing is that we now live in a society where all the information that we need to become masters of our own lives is readily available. All we must do is avail ourselves of this information and take action. So why is failure such a big part of our lives, and why is it something to be embraced rather than avoided? Let's think about this. If every time we attempt something, it comes out exactly as intended, we learn nothing. How boring. Many of us love the Rocky movie series. Remember Rocky? Sylvester Stallone? How much would you have enjoyed the movie if Rocky had won all of his fights? You probably would not have enjoyed it. You probably would not have enjoyed it very much. I know I wouldn't have. The reason the world is still inspired by the movie is that although Rocky was a failure in and out of the ring, he never gave up. He learned what he needed to change and then made adjustments. It is only by making continuous changes and adjustments in our attitudes, in our beliefs, actions, and behaviors that we are able to grow and evolve. This holds true in every area of our lives. For this reason, I'd like to say that I have not failed as much as I have learned what does and does not work in a particular situation. Failure, when embraced properly, has produced some of the greatest achievements this world has known. Had he not embraced failure by getting kicked off his high school basketball team, Michael Jordan would be an unknown. Had Steve Jobs not been fired from his job at Apple, we would not know the iPhone. As a child, she was abandoned, physically and sexually abused, and destined to a life of drugs and crime. Yet today, Oprah Winfrey stands as a shining example of how failure is the genesis of all success. So, how do you become a world-class failure? I'm glad you asked. After many years of studying the most successful people on the planet, reading hundreds of books, listening to hundreds of audio recordings, and attending hundreds of seminars dealing with business and personal and spiritual development, I've concluded that success is a lousy teacher. But failure is the most common thread amongst the greatest achievers. In my view, there are two kinds of failure. One is when people lead lives of pain, misery, and ruin, yet choose to do nothing to change their situation. The other is when people make efforts to change one or more elements of their lives, but they end up without the desired results. It is the latter kind of failure that can serve as a springboard for massive success. In order to become a world-class failure, you must decide what you want to accomplish, and then take action toward your intended result. If you do not achieve your desired result, find the cause of the failure. I'm going to give you a hint. The cause will always be facing you in the mirror. And then make the necessary adjustments and repeat until you have reached the desired outcome. I'm Steve Gallegos. Thank you for listening. You can find The Art and Science of Success, Volume 7 on Amazon.com. You can get it through my website, steviegsuccess.com. Connect with me on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, through social media by searching for Stevie G Success, and leave your comments below. And again, thanks for listening. Thank you so much.